Good, good morning, and thanks for tuning in to
Yes,
the
indeed.
TMI show with Rall and Manila Chan. It is Monday, May 11th, 2026. Robbie West, our producer, is sitting in for the,
Yep.
I wouldn't say exactly vacationing Manila Chan. Vacationing is not an accurate way to put it. The reason I'm laughing is, I asked right before we went on, Robbie's camera and mic weren't on, and so I was like, "Where are you? Turn them on." Then he said,
Uh, okay, sure, but there's a slight delay. Logistics. You have to understand. I can't go into more detail than that, but well, I
"Okay, all right.
could, but
No,
this is a
well, you don't
family
have
show.
to. Yeah,
No,
okay.
this is a family show, so I can't do it. Do I have a PO box set up? I do not have a PO box set up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Annie Anna was asking if I have a PO box. I do not. I
so
do have a Rumble wallet set up though.
yeah, but that's. I think they want the person wants to send you something in the material world.
Oh, gotcha, for sure. That
I'm
makes sense.
guessing. I'm guessing
Awesome.
that's the case. All right. Okay, so just to reiterate, thanks for joining us. If you're joining us from Deprogram, there's going to be more Deprogram coming up in a couple of hours. Q&A show with JT, Robbie, and myself is live 12 noon Eastern time here in the United States, going for a full hour answering all of your questions. Priority goes to Super Chats and Rumble Rants. And shall we just get right into today's news?
Yeah, I think we probably should because we kind of went over a little bit, and last Friday's show was a little bit shorter. So yeah, let's just jump on into it.
All right, let's see if we can avoid. It seems like the tech gods are favoring us today, so hopefully that'll continue. All right, here we go. Central California peach farmers are preparing. This is a crazy story to me. Are preparing to destroy around 420,000 clingstone peach trees. Right, you heard that right. Over 400,000 peach trees, because Del Monte Foods shut down its canneries earlier this year. Look, it's impossible to go to a supermarket anywhere in the United States over the last, my entire life without having seen Del Monte canned vegetables and fruits. Anyway, Del Monte, the 139-year-old canned fruit and vegetable company, permanently closed its canneries in Modesto and Houston in April following Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. Robbie, did you know that Del Monte had gone bankrupt?
I did not. I did not know that.
I did not either. The closures left hundreds of workers without jobs and devastated growers, many of whom lost 20-year contracts with Del Monte and had very few alternative buyers for their crops. Farmers could face an estimated $550 million in lost revenue, that according to the Sacramento Bee newspaper. In response, Senators Adam Schiff and Representatives Mike Thompson and David Valadao announced last week that affected growers could receive up to $9 million in federal aid in order to remove up to 420,000 peach trees before the upcoming harvest season, which typically runs from late May through September. The approved emergency assistance would help growers remove about 3,000 acres of peach orchards, removing about 50,000 tons of peaches from production, could reduce oversupply and save farmers an estimated $30 million in additional losses. The growers can then pivot to another crop. For generations, Central Valley family farms have relied on Del Monte's Modesto facility to process their peaches, Valadao said in a statement. Central California peach farmers will receive about $9 million to cover their $500 million loss. It really does sound like the American government to me. I don't know, parenthetically, Robbie, if you heard this, but the White House Correspondents' Dinner is under, they're trying to figure out whether they can reschedule after the shooting disrupted the previous one a week or two ago. And they were bragging that they raised $100,000 in scholarships for journalism students. And I'm like, you raise $100,000. It costs $100,000 to attend Columbia Journalism School, which is a 2-year program, for 1 year. So in other words, you raise enough money to send one kid to J school for 1 year. And that's considered that you're bragging about that? Anyway,
Oh, I
Um,
have a question because you're a journalist. I mean, why do you need a college degree to be a journalist?
you don't. My
No, I mean, I
experience,
don't understand. Explain the logic to me.
no, you don't. It's an accreditation thing versus a training thing. It's sort of like do you need an MBA to be a business person? Fuck no. Most of the most successful business people in the world have never gotten an MBA. So no, you absolutely do not. It's but uh, hoity-toity institutions like the Washington Post and the New York Times recruit extensively from these institutions. It's a filter. It's like they want to hire rich kids, and that's what they get because they don't. There's no financial aid really to go to journalism school, so only rich kids have J school degrees from places like Columbia.
But isn't that the
So
problem? Because if you are
yes,
part of the privileged class, then you are going to protect what you know, and you're not going to be hiring people who are hungry for the truth and who are just going to go out there and just burn up your shoe leather.
I fucking despise journalism school. So just to be clear here. All right. So in a March letter to Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, Schiff, Thompson, and Valadeo, as well as 39 other members of Congress, said many of the impacted California farmers are multi-generational family growers who've spent decades building their orchards. They said that without federal assistance, the situation could cause lasting harm to the country's agricultural system. When a processing facility closes and 55,000 acres of fruit suddenly have nowhere to go, that's not something a family farm can just absorb. This funding is a critical step in ensuring these important multi-generational businesses can stay afloat, Thompson added. After a court allowed Del Monte to sell off its assets, Pacific Coast producers bought Del Monte's canned fruit business. The company agreed to buy about 24,000 tons of peaches from farmers, but that still leaves 50,000 tons without a buyer, meaning a large amount of the crop will not be used. There's a lot to unpack here, and I think it's an interesting story, even though not a widely reported one. So there's the old question of whether in a capitalist system the government should assist private enterprise, in this case, individual private California peach growers in their moment of need. And then there's the other question of like the tremendous waste created by a capitalist system. I mean, just think about all this food. Now, I understand that you can't really ship. Peaches don't keep well, right? So you can't ship them to starving people all over the world, or for that matter, across the country.
Well, ship
But
them to Los Angeles. I mean, it's right there in the same state. I mean, how many people in homeless shelters could you have fed with those peaches?
couldn't they be? I'm just wondering.
You can freeze them.
Couldn't they be frozen? Couldn't they be dried? Right.
I mean, I don't know about drying. You could definitely freeze them. I mean,
Dried
Georgia's was.
peaches are a thing. They're good. You can get
I
them
mean,
at Trader Joe's.
I mean, I've never been to Trader Joe's. So I got one of those. So
Mm. You'll get.
uh,
Oh, you're going to get one. The way things are going in Kalispell, there will be one soon.
I hope not. I seriously hope not. I mean, we went up to Lone Pine yesterday. We're looking out over the valley, and there's just hundreds of new houses springing up south of town. I really, though, Zelensky, if you're listening, we could use a couple of well placed drones to try to stop this stuff. But serious question though. But to answer your question about should the feds be stepping in to help companies, the answer is no. Capitalism doesn't work if money is free. Capitalism doesn't work if you get bailed out. Capitalism works if a business fails because the model fails. You sell those assets to a competitor, and you don't go through and then just raise the product that R A Z E, not raise. Just, you don't
Mm-hmm.
bulldoze it,
Mm-hmm.
because that's literally the whole point of it. It takes years for these to grow new producing trees. That's not what you do. If worst comes to worst, what you could do is every year you could use your precious migrants and you can pick them and then you can donate them for a tax write off. You
So
don't need to do this stuff.
there's also some, but on the other hand, it's government policy, Robbie, that contributed to this bankruptcy of Del Monte. So it is true that part of what went wrong with Del Monte is that there's the consumer preferences have changed to fresh vegetables and fruits over canned ones. But it's also true that Trump's tariffs against steel have impacted what is effectively a massive canning operation, and that was also a contributing factor. So if government policy contributes to a bankruptcy, shouldn't the ramifications of that government policy be, borne at least in part by the federal government?
No,
No.
no, sorry. No, because you have the tariffs only work again with foreign countries. We are a vast continental country with 350 million people. You could always just market here. And like I said, if you're not able to make a profit selling, what you can do is that you can then donate that food and get tax write-offs that way. Now, there are things that you're able to do. The answer doesn't always have to be the government has to step in and solve the problem, especially when government makes the problem in the first place. And one thing I do wonder, remember how a couple of weeks ago how we talked about how California is going through this drought and the problems with with irrigation?
Mm,
Peach trees need a lot of water.
they
And
do.
so one of the things I wonder is why were they growing peaches in California in the first place instead of in Georgia and South Carolina where they're native?
Well, what do you mean where they're needed?
Well, for example, if you have to import a crap ton of water in order to grow these things,
Mm.
uh, then now that you're in a drought, these are companies that invested in the irrigation. They invested in trying to grow fruit where it normally does not grow because the environment just simply doesn't support that kind of tree life. I mean, I'm sorry, that's the whole point of investing. You make a gamble, you assume that you're able to work. If it doesn't work out, you take your lumps. This is the same problem we have with healthcare. It's privatizing the profits, but you're socializing the losses. That's all this is.
Well, so yeah, but we're not. We're I don't know. It seems to me like
The answer
the
is no.
tariffs. All right. Well, speaking of which, speaking of the tariffs, something that we have not talked about on either of the shows, um, but the, a lot of the tariffs were ruled illegal by the U.S. Supreme Court recently. And so the government, in order to, to obey the Supreme Court ruling, has set up a mechanism by which companies that pay the tariffs can apply for a rebate. The thing is, a lot of the companies, there's nothing in the rule that says that if they increase their prices to their consumers, that they have to pass that savings, that rebate on to that. So effectively, isn't this just a giant federal government bribe to big business and business in general from the Trump administration? Like, yeah, I know it was kind of annoying, but we raised prices across the board, drove up inflation, but now we're going to rebate this money to you that you passed the costs on to the consumers, but you can keep it.
Yeah, of course it is. And Peter over at Rumble, thank you for the $2 rant. In 2011, private equity behemoth KKR, alongside Vestar Capital and Centerview, acquired Del Monte Foods for $5.3 billion. Another shocker.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
it's. I mean, aren't you a little shocked that a company as big as? I mean, I'm a little shocked that like a leviathan like Del Monte. I mean, when I used to work at a supermarket, unpacking cans and putting them on the shelf. I mean, Del Monte was like, it's everywhere. It's massive. It's crazy to me that it's gone.
I mean, that's part of the problem, right? Because it's a bigger example of the problem that's happening here in Montana. So whenever you're creating inflation to pay for your spending, then what you're doing is that you're really, this would be an Achilles question. I wish I had him here this morning. Uh, what you're doing is that you're destroying the purchasing power of the dollars that are currently in circulation. That's why property taxes keep going up relative to everything else. These companies have to pay those taxes too. And it doesn't matter if you're a farmer, it doesn't matter if you're a rancher, it doesn't matter if you are Del Monte. You still are on the hook for those costs. There's only so much profit that you can wring out of your fruit.
Right, but they were able
And
to do it for 139 years.
well, they were, but if you look at the rate of inflation since say 2010 to what it is now, because keep in mind, inflation is expansion of the money supply. It's not raising prices. Rising prices is a symptom. Inflation is the government actually printing dollars, expanding the supply of money in circulation. Well, that has to go somewhere. real estate is one of the places where it's going to go. And that's one of the reasons why housing costs and land costs keep going up. We're going to see more of this. Agriculture is in real trouble here. And it doesn't matter if you're Del Monte, it doesn't matter if you're a family farmer.
It's ironic because food is more expensive than ever.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, for example, if you go, and I like using magazines as a barometer of this because the price is right there on the cover. Look at it. Look at a picture of how much a Time magazine cost in 1980 versus now. It's
Yeah,
like
not to mention it was a lot bigger.
yeah,
There's
for
been
sure.
a lot of shrinkflation.
Yeah, for sure. It's not that the magazine became more expensive. It's that the dollar in your wallet became cheaper,
Well,
and
there's
that's
other
systemic.
factors at work too. Like for example, the price per unit of printing Time magazine when it had a circulation of 15 million was a lot lower than the price per unit of publishing something when it has a circulation of 80,000.
Well, for sure. I'm just talking about just again. That's just a barometer. It's just something people are able to see just at a glance. But
Mhm.
then you figure that out into housing costs and into farming, all this other stuff. Like for example, if I bought a house now, let's say if I bought a house for $400,000, and then I want to sell the house 15 years from now, and I sell it for 600,000, that house didn't get more value. It's just that the purchasing power of every single dollar that I have is worth less. So it takes more dollars to have to equal what I have. I'm not making more. I'm actually earning less. That's the whole problem here. And that's what's happening with these farmers. It doesn't matter if it's Del Monte or if it's your chicken farmer down the street. The problem is exactly the same. And the problem is the government.
Well, let's move on from there because we have a lot to get to. All right. There's kind of a theme for the next two stories. I'll let people figure out what that is. There's That's one way to make your heart jump or slow it down in one man's case. Walking home one night, a 29-year-old man from Queens, New York, started experiencing heart palpitations of 140 beats per minute, far higher than the average resting heart rate of 60 to 100. But when he was admitted to hospital, the solution came as a bit of a surprise in an area farther south of his heart. A rarely dangerous or life-threatening, heart palpitations can be brought on by several causes like a lack of sleep, caffeine, alcohol, or stress. The rapid fluttering, flip-flopping, or pounding sensations in the chest often go away on their own, or they could be a sign of arrhythmia, abnormal heartbeats when electrical signals that tell the organ how to beat aren't working properly. Before using standard procedures to restore regularity, the attending doctor needed to check for gastrointestinal bleeding by performing a routine digital rectal exam, according to a report of this case. A finger up the butt was all it took to slow down the patient's heartbeat to 80 beats per minute and make the irregular heartbeat disappear, even months later at a follow-up. Having no history of heart problems or signs of a heart attack, the man had undergone an electrocardiogram earlier that detected signs of atrial fibrillation, AFib, a common type of arrhythmia. AFib means the heart's upper and lower chambers are out of sync, resulting in less blood filling the lower chambers and reaching the lungs and the rest of the body. While the cause of the man's irregular heartbeat was unknown, typically medications or a procedure that uses synchronized low-energy electrical shocks are the first lines of treatment. The patient was also prescribed an anticoagulant to prevent the formation of blood clots. While the usual treatments slow and regulate heart rhythm within hours, the rectal exam provided the same solution in a matter of minutes. The theory was that the exam affected the man's nervous system by stimulating the vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve in the body, which connects the brain to major organs like the lung, gut, and heart. During the exam, the man was also instructed to use a technique called the Valsalva maneuver, a breathing exercise that increases activity in the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve stimulation is thought to increase activity in the parasympathetic nervous system, the counter to the body's fight or flight mode, and slow electrical conduction in the heart. Although the exact cause is unknown. AFib is often associated with overactivity of the parasympathetic nervous system. However, the heart condition can sometimes be linked to another serious condition, congestive heart failure, meaning the heart doesn't pump blood efficiently. In the case of the dude from Queens, the doctor who treated him believes the vagus nerve stimulation slowed down his heartbeats. While the rectal procedure could be another method of treating heart arrhythmias, more research is needed before it replaces traditional methods like medications or medical procedures. So, Robbie,
Yeah.
don't
Yep.
be too surprised if next time you go to the doctor and if you're complaining about your heart's a little fluttery, that the doctor says, bend over and just gives you a hard reset.
I mean, maybe that will work, but I mean, I do have abnormal heart rhythm. Some people are surprised I
Ooh.
have a heart, but I really do. And but I know what mine's for because I don't sleep. So the doctor's like, Robbie, you've got to start sleeping more like 3 hours a day. To which case I said, but there's so many more things that I can do that are so much more fun than sleeping. And but I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see what happens.
Well, I
Or
mean,
maybe
don't.
I could ask Kizzy. He's like, hey, my heart rhythm is up. How about you
Huh?
just going up in there and wiggling around a little bit? See what happens.
I think. Look, I think it's time for we. This is President Trump. He needs to sign another executive order ordering that all Americans, beginning with himself on national television, do a preemptive rectal exam, just in case, like you might have an undiagnosed, arrhythmia situation. Out of an abundance of caution, just people need we should have like a team of like a whole set of high roadside and highway side like rest area like butt huts where people can pull over and just when they're pull over for gas they just get a finger up their butt at the same time and then they're on their way and
You,
it's going to make America healthy again.
well, those 350,000 Haitians that Congress extended the legal protections for, so they can't be deported. That could be
Mhm.
a good job for them. But we could put them in every 7-Eleven, and whenever you go there to get gas or the gas station of your choice, you go in. Since gas prices are just so high, if you fill up your car, if you spend more than say $80 per
You're going to be
per fill
stressed
up,
out, by the way. You're going to have
then
heart palpitations.
oh, 100%. Then what you should just do is just go and bend over the hood, let your friendly neighborhood Haitian, after he gets finished eating his cat snack, slip his finger up your butt, do the hard reset, and away you go.
I can live with that, but I think that like right wing like Republicans and Zionists should get the biggest Haitians. They should be
Well,
assigned to the 6'5" male Haitians.
I don't think that's going to work, Ted, because you got to have a heart to have a heart palpitation.
Good
And
point.
so, I mean, so if you're a
Yeah, but
genocidal monster like that, or if you support genocide like that, especially in the name of your fake god, uh, then I doubt that you even have a heart, much less a brain.
let's see. We have Peter I. Thanks so much for the donation. Yeah. Oh, you already mentioned this one.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. The end. Sorry about that. Um, all right. Well, any thoughts about any
Now,
thoughts about
Manchild says it's called a glory hole. Why is a butt called a glory hole?
No, but it's not called a glory hole. A
Well,
glory hole, and full disclosure, I have never seen one, but I know people who've seen them. A glory hole is a hole in a cloth or like drywall or something where a dude sticks his penis through and he's not really completely clear who or what is on the other side. And then hopefully good things happen to his penis.
but why would you ever do that?
I mean, Robbie, you're a man of faith. This is the ultimate expression of faith. You hope for the, you cross your fingers and you stick your holiest of holies through there and you really hope for the best.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I
I,
personally don't have I'm not a man of faith. And I don't believe that there's not like an ugly syphilitic crack whore on the other side of the male on the other side of that wall. In fact, I'm sure of it. Or maybe like a wolf or something bad is on the other side of that wall. So therefore, I mean, I know you're fantasizing that like it's a hot chick, but it's not. You know, it's not.
No, it's just going to have to be a hard pass. I mean, no, seriously, my wife is all I need, especially whenever she comes in between shows wearing her birthday suit. Is the camera on? So make sure everything's off. And so, yeah, no, that's seriously, that's all of that. That's all that I need, especially because she was right there at the door when I was talking to y'all about on the last show about the Confederate flag and the Black Lives Matter flag. And she's like, "Why are you telling all my business? Make sure the camera's off." And because so it's just we live in a very small space, and I'm the only one that has a room all to myself here in the
By
apartment.
the way, in New York, that would be considered a very generous sized apartment.
See, to me, that's insane. Why would
People would walk into your apartment if it was in New York, and they'd say, "Ooh, God, how did you get such a great apartment?"
how
I
much?
had a place that was 725 square feet, and I swear to God, and granted, they were laid out very judiciously. It was the building was built. It was a pre-World War I building, and it was built by very intelligent architects. And so it was, but still, 725 square feet is not a big place.
No.
And people would walk in and say, "Oh my God, this place is huge," and I'd be like, "Only in New York."
How much do y'all? How much would an apartment like that cost?
Oh well, it depends. It all depends on where it would be, But let's say in a very residential neighborhood like the Upper East or the Upper West Side of Manhattan, like your apartment, assuming that it didn't face an air shaft, I would say probably $1 million. Yeah,
I mean, to own, so not to rent. So you
to
can actually
own,
own
to
it.
own. Yeah, you could own it. I mean, it could be more. Like if it was like in the village or someplace more desirable.
Gotcha. Yeah, because here you never own. It's you always rent.
Well, there must be people. Oh, you mean like there's no condos or co-ops,
Not that I can afford.
but people do.
Oh yeah, no, people do. But I'm just talking about like an apartment like this. Just be able to come in. I mean, just for renting is what I'm talking about.
Well,
But wages in New York they've got to be higher than what they are here in Kalispell.
they used to be, but as we were talking before the show, that's the problem. Part of what's falling apart in New York and other cities like that is that the idea was it's super fucking expensive, but you can move in, and but if you move there, it's like you're going to make so much money, it'll be worth it. That could used to be true. It's not true anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously it's true for some people, um, but Robbie, if you have those, if you have arrhythmia,
yeah,
you know what to do.
yeah. Just go, especially since they don't have any insurance. So the next time that happens, I just need to talk to kids. Just say, okay, so I heard this on the TMI show. Ted
So you
Rall
know
told
it's
me.
reliable. Yeah.
So this has got to work. So here's what we need to do, honey. Go get the Vaseline. I'm going to bend over and just stick it up in there and just start wiggling. And we'll see what happens. We'll use the Apple Watch. We'll make sure that it goes down,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll go from there.
Yeah. You'll go from there. That's for sure. All right. And last, and I don't believe least, really, although I still think the Del Monte story was super interesting. And
Oh,
here we
Montana
go.
killed its first hiker this year.
Oh yeah, yeah. So explain what happened there.
So a person went hiking up in Glacier National Park and decided that
That's near you.
yeah, it's I can literally see it from my window.
Hmm.
No, the mountains, and a bear decided to make a snack of this fellow. So if you come to Montana and if you're gonna go hiking in bear country, you need to realize you need to be ready and willing to take your life into your own hands, or else you can be a tasty snack for a biped.
Well, that's wait. Is a bear? A bear is not a biped, right?
Well,
Is
they
it?
can stand up and walk around.
But not like at length, right? Like I mean, can they walk around for more than say 10 steps?
Depends on the bear, but I mean, typically they walk on all fours. But if they're going to kill you,
They
they
can rear
usually
up.
they'll usually get up and then they'll go to town. So uh, we had a very mild winter, and so I think that's probably part of the reason. Just more of them are just waking up for hibernation earlier. And this guy, he became a tasty morsel, a very
Is it
large grub.
advisable to just for nobody to go outside there at this time of the year?
Take a gun with you. Seriously, take a gun.
And what would you do with that gun? If,
You
like,
sh-
let's
you,
say,
you shoot
yeah,
the
what
bear
part of the
multiple
bear?
times.
Where do you shoot them? Just wherever.
The face, the neck, and the chest. It depends on the. Ideally, you want to have a rifle like what I've got right here next to me. If you're going to use a handgun, a 9 millimeters is going to piss a bear off. So have at least a 40. A 45 would be ideal. But I have a 40 caliber with lead heads, so it'll
What
do
would be
the
your?
job.
What do you think your chances of prevailing would be if you had a tight, let's a bear within say 40 feet?
It's even money.
Mm. And if you're a really good shot, it helps.
Well. The problem is the caliber of the guns what's going to matter. If you're using a handgun, I mean it's
You're
even
just
money. If you're using a rifle like a 7.62 by 39, or ideally a 30-30 or a 30-06, uh, the odds are going to be in your favor. But
what
if you're
about bear?
using
What about bear spray or air horn?
um, better than nothing, but I'd rather give it lead poisoning. Just saying.
All right, and last, and we have no moral obligation to go full hour here, but we might. Here we go. And if you have, oh, by the way, just a reminder, we have Q&A show for
Yeah.
Deprogram coming up at 12 noon. So no ads. I'm just checking that. All right, here we go. All right, let's be honest. People have a habit of bringing their phones to the bathroom. I am guilty of this myself. Um, and the odds are that someone is on the toilet reading this article right now or listening to this article right now. A 3-minute trip to the loo can easily turn into 15 minutes of reading, doom scrolling, and posting. Might
Yeah.
seem like a harmless way to pass the time when you're going number two. However, experts say that prolonged sitting on the toilet can hurt your health. It's even been connected to an increased risk of hemorrhoids and weakened pelvic muscles. That, according to Dr. Lei Jue, a colorectal surgeon at UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. When patients present to me with complaints, one of the main areas we have to delve deeply into, see what they did there, is
Hmm.
spending a lot of time on the toilet, Shui said. People should spend, this is the important part here, an average of 5 to 10 minutes on the John, according to Dr. Farah Manzoor, assistant professor of medicine and director of the Inflammatory Bowel Disease Center at Stony Brook Medical Center on Long Island, New York. Why is it a problem if you stay longer? Here's a short physics lesson. Gravity keeps us grounded on Earth, but that same gravity forces the body to work harder to pump blood back into your heart, Shui said. The open, oval shaped toilet seat compresses your butt, keeping the rectum in a lower position than if you were sitting on the couch. With gravity pulling the lower half of your body down, the increased pressure affects your blood circulation. It becomes a one-way value where blood enters, but blood can't go back, Shui said. As a result, the veins and blood vessels surrounding your anus and lower rectum become enlarged and engorged with blood, increasing your risk of hemorrhoids. Forced straining can also increase the pressure to allow hemorrhoids to build. People scrolling on their phones on the toilet tend to lose track of time, sitting and straining their muscles to get a bowel movement out. And guess what? Your doctors can tell. Nowadays, we're seeing an increase in people passing more time on the bowl, and that's very much unhealthy for the anorectal organs and the pelvic floor, Shui added. By the way, it seems to me like doing the hover like you would over a dirty gas station toilet is like one solution here. Or Turkish squat toilet or the squatty potty. Um, in addition to weakened anal muscles and forced straining, sitting on the toilet bowl for too long can also increase the risk of rectal prolapse. That's when your rectum, part of the large intestine, slips down and bulges out of your anus. The pelvic floor muscles are another type of muscle weakened from prolonged toilet sitting. Shui explained that pelvic floor muscles coordinate a significant amount of bowel movement and work with the rest of your body to make sure your stool comes out smoothly. The gravitational pressure on the pelvic floor strains the muscles when constantly sitting for long periods. So, what are you supposed to do? Keep phones, magazines, large history books out of the bathroom. Um, if you're having trouble relieving yourself, quit after 10 minutes. I don't see myself doing that. Instead, walk around a bit, since the motion can stimulate your gut muscles to produce a bowel movement. Also, get hydrated and eat high fiber food like oats and beans so you become fartier and shittier. The National Academy of Medicine recommends 2.7 to 3.7 liters of water daily. Basically, it's about 3 quarts. In addition, the U.S. Department of Agriculture recommends 14 grams of fiber for every 1,000 calories of food. Who's measuring that, though? Shui said that fiber and water soften your stool, making it easier to pass. There are situations, though, in which you have to spend an unusual amount of time on the toilet, like if you are sentenced under your prison term to spend 5 years on the toilet. Constant difficulty or discomfort when passing stool can be a symptom of gastrointestinal issues like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and Crohn's disease. Worsening constipation, or a need to sit on the toilet, like if you're like Ben Shapiro, you probably suffer from, you can tell he's constipated all the time just from the expression on his face. If you, or the need to sit on the toilet for a long time may also be a sign of cancer. If a growth inside the colon grows big enough, it can block the flow of your poo, which can cause constipation and bleeding. So actually, I thought it was a funny but interesting story. So basically, the takeaway is wait till you really have to go, and then just like go there and hit it and quit it. Don't be dicking around on the bowl for long periods of time.
Well,
Not a place to relax.
unless you're working in an office, because like when I worked for Verizon, for example, there was a guy who would, I mean, you could pretty much set your clock by like every hour and a half. He would go to his office, which is the throne room, for a solid 15 to 20 minutes at any given time, and that's
Well, in
just.
fairness, we don't know if it was solid or mushy.
But I mean, we do know that he was gone like
Yeah,
consistently,
yeah.
and so it seems like working in an office or a retail space. Sometimes the crapper is the only place that you can go to get a break outside of your sanctioned 15-minute breaks.
To get some me time.
Yeah, and so you're going to go in there. You're going to sit. You're going to.
I used to bring the newspaper, the print newspaper, to my when I worked in an office to the toilet. I must have spent like half an hour at a time. It's a wonder I didn't be turned into a giant hemorrhoid.
Yeah, one of my
People might argue that I have.
one of my favorite books that that I would read whenever I was younger. It was called The Pacific War. Let me see here. What? By William Hopkins. Have you read that book, Ted?
No.
Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It is a magnificent volume. It starts in the Meiji Restoration. Basically, it's the story of the Pacific War, starting with the Meiji Restoration, the industrialization of Japan, the Washington Naval Treaty. So it's a very in-depth, incredibly well-written book.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't lose yourself for hours sitting on the throne room, that is a magnificent book in which to read into, because it just.
But according to the colorectal experts here, you could really fuck yourself up.
Well, I mean, maybe, but you can fix that with a bag or something. There are things that you're able to do. You can always snip the hemorrhoids off. But
Yeah, well,
but I mean, if you
I'm
have
about to deal with that myself.
if you have listen, I offered it up for you for free.
I
Instead,
know.
I mean, well, it wouldn't be for free. You have to come here to Kalispell.
Exactly. That's going to cost me as much as my copay.
But you would get to see Montana though in all of its glory. I take you up to
Yeah,
Glacier
but then I'll
Park. Well,
but then I'll barely be able to walk around because I'm going to have like, bandages on my butt for like weeks afterwards.
just because of
Which is,
using
by the
an
way, I got to tell you, it's going to put a serious crimp into my OnlyFans business.
well, but everyone has a cross to bear, Ted. Yours is going
It's
to
true.
be your anal tags.
It's true. It's really true. It's not even a good name for a punk band.
Yeah,
Hello, Seattle. We're the anal tags.
yeah, yeah. Manchild says Nepal used squat toilets. No,
Yeah,
the house we lived in before we moved actually into town had
I like
outhouses,
squat toilets.
and so if it's 30 below zero outside, you're not going to be spending a lot of time
No,
on
you're
the
going to hit it and
throne room.
quit it. I had
Yeah,
a,
for sure.
I remember going for a squat toilet like in Central Asia, where it was on a platform, and it was in the middle of a field, and it was just a platform with like four holes in the top, and there was this Chinese dude. He was he was like probably like 65. He wore a fedora. He was squatting without propping himself down on anything. There's nothing to hold on to while reading the paper. And he was up there for a good 20, 30 minutes. And I was like, that man has some seriously impressive, like, leg aisle and accile muscles to be able to
Very much
pull
so.
that off. Also, I don't think that what I just talked about, that warning would apply to him, because you don't have the, if you're squatting like that, you don't have like the rims of the toilet, impacting your blood circulation. I don't think it's really matters. You can do it for, it's probably good for you.
Probably, I would think so. Just, I don't know. It's just, I wonder how they do it on the reservations. I have to go down there and talk to some of the
Like they don't
Indians
have
that live
toilets
there.
at the on the res.
Um, Evidently, some do, some don't. Depends on how primitive is that they want to live. Because some of them are trying to go. Pardon the term, they're trying to go native and get away from the comforts of the white man. But
Well,
though they enjoy the alcohol and the free medical care that the white man provides. So I'm not sure how committed they are
well,
to this.
the alcohol I think was not really so much as provided as, like, kind of like used as a weapon of used as a weapon, like the opium in the opium wars.
Oh, for sure. Like we were in East Glacier. It's a beautiful little town. I wanted to move there because it's just like absolutely not. It's a town that's 300 people. That that's the population they have out there on a sign. And I want to live there because for me it'd be perfect. She's like, probably there's no place to shop. There's nothing to do. She's like, that's why I like it. Kalispell's getting too big, and so I want to get away. And I wonder how this works. Well, once you really get out into the bush on the reservation, or even some of the really small rancher towns, like at Creston, where I used to live, modern plumbing is not the it's not the norm. They actually still do use outhouses there. If you go up where the Hutterites live up there by the Canadian border, sure, it's the same thing.
So, yeah, I can't speak to that. I don't think I've ever. I think the only time I've ever been to a reservation, I was like maybe 8 or 10 on a road trip with my dad, where we stopped somewhere and saw, like, some dance, and my dad bought me like a beaded bracelet, which has long been lost, and that's it. Yeah.
Come here in July, and what I will do, I'll take you to what they call Frontier Days. It's a town south of us, I don't know, 60 miles south of where I am. It's called Rodan, and they have this big powwow, and they have the Kootenai and the Salish Indians all get together to have this big old powwow, and then have a rodeo, and it's pretty wild. Then you get handmade Indian made stuff, blankets, beads,
All right.
tomahawks.
All right. Well,
It'd be
if I
fun.
can come up with the money, these days money's been a little bit tight, but as you know,
Oh,
we've been talking about that.
oh, for sure. No, things are tight.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to think what else is going on. Well, I guess that's probably about it. Anything else you want to say about this? So seriously, set a timer, 5 to 10 minutes. If you do bring your phone, set a timer on your phone when you sit down. But probably just don't bring your phone, and probably just wait till you have to poo. Don't just go see what happens. Like, wait till it's really like a pressing matter. Leave your
I,
phone out. Go sit down. Get it done. Hit it and quit it. Be gone.
no, I do have a question for you because
Hmm.
we closed out deprogram talking about those migrants who died there on that train in Laredo.
Hmm.
How is that the railroad's problem?
Well, you wouldn't say it's a problem to have six corpses on your train? I'd say it's a problem.
I say that those are people who are trying to break the law, invading another country, and they pay the price for it. I don't think it's the
It's still,
problem of
it's
Union
still their
Pacific.
problem, though. I mean, it's
I
like
mean, is it?
it's the railroad. It's not the railroad's not. I think legally. I mean, I don't know. Are they legally responsible? I mean,
Why would they be?
to some. Well, they didn't secure their facilities to prevent, people from climbing on who aren't supposed to be there.
I mean,
It's sort of like Robbie. You know what the analogy is in most jurisdictions, and you probably live in one of them. And I think it's absurd. Even if you live out in the middle of nowhere, if you have a swimming pool,
yeah,
and you have to usually put a fence around your swimming pool, and why? You could say like, oh, it's to prevent kids from falling in. And you're like, well, I don't have a kid. That's like, or my kids all swim. They don't need a fence. So what it's for is if someone trespasses, breaks into your pool, and a kid, and then drowns. So you're like, I'm sorry, if someone breaks into my pool and drowns, that's on them as far as I'm
correct.
concerned. But
Yes,
that's not what the law says.
but I mean, there are videos. You'll have to take my word for it. Where in Mexico they load migrants up on cars and on trains and just ship them to the border. I mean, that was
Oh,
happening
yeah,
night
they
and
do. Yeah,
day,
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time. With especially under the Biden administration. I don't know if it's having so much
It's
stuff
well
with
documented,
Sheinbaum.
yeah.
So,
Obviously, it's still going on. This kind of proves that it's still going
of
on.
course it
That the
is.
trains are moving up the spine of Mexico,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
yeah,
And so I mean, if you're going to do that, if you're going to if you're going to play chicken with the Reaper, especially with warmer weather and stuff, and those train cars, they're not air conditioned. Do they even have water? Do they have food? We don't know. I'm going to assume probably not. Uh, then if you're doing this, and if you are hopping a train to break into a country from which you have zero legal right to be there, and if you die for it, well, sorry, it's Darwinism.
yeah. I mean, I don't. My first thought is that probably the railroad should not be held liable in any way. I don't think there's any thought of that. I think that this is just more of like they're trying to figure out where these people came from, and I think we kind of know where they came from and
Yeah,
what they wanted, and I think we kind of know the answer to that. It's obviously sad, tragic.
yeah. No, I completely agree. And so you mentioned that anti-Semitism is a creature of the right. Could you unpack that for me?
Well, I mean, traditionally, it's been like it depends on the country, but anti-Semitism has typically been a sort of fascist or proto-fascist or far right kind of thing, right? I mean, it's not like in the in during the Soviet Revolution, during the Russian Revolution, there were tons of Russian Jews who were not only involved but were at the upper echelons of the Soviet government. Uh, in contrast, the biggest anti-Semitic act in human history is the Holocaust carried out by Nazi Germany, which was a far right ideology. Um, I mean, like as to the whys of that, it's like the right has often had a close relationship with clerical, pro-Catholic, traditional kind of uh, the clergy in Europe, and those people have often been anti-Semitic. So, like I'm kind of confused by your confusion.
Well, I mean, I'm a right
And by
winger.
the way, we have an ad when we're ready.
Okay, I'm a right winger, and I oppose Israel. And if anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, does that
It's
make me
not.
anti-Semitic? Well, that's the definition. That's the definition that's used by the
It's
Anti-Defamation League. That's the definition that's
they're
used by
wrong.
the ADL. That's the official definition that's used by our government. And as a Christian, if I try to convert a Jewish person to Christianity, does that make me anti-Semitic?
I don't know. I mean, I think you could make that argument. I wouldn't make that argument, but
But that's a problem. That's a problem with the definition that you're putting out because you can't define the term. I'm not
what
saying I'm not.
anti-Semitism is very easy to define.
No,
It's contempt of or hatred of Jews because they're Jewish.
okay, so then again, if I try to convert someone to from Judaism to Christianity, does that make me anti-Semitic, or
I mean,
does
I
my
personally would say not, but I think someone who's like militantly Jewish could argue that it does because you're trying to get them to renounce their Jewish identity and faith.
okay? So then is Israel a religious state or an ethno state?
It's an ethno state.
Okay, well then religion is a factor into it. If I become a Muslim, I'm still a white male. So
Yes, you are.
do you see the problem with the word games that they play? If you
Oh,
let them define the
yeah.
terms, then you can't define anything.
but you were asking about like why is it a right wing ideology? I'm just saying
Well, for sure.
it is. You can't. I mean, by definition, I mean you just can't like. All right, let's do. What do you think? Let's do Rumble Premium just because. Well, no, let's do Rumble Wallet because it pays better. Here we go. Okay, quick question. How much control do you actually have over your money right now? Technology has changed everything, and now it's changing how money works. Crypto started out as a niche, but now it's going mainstream. Faster payments, more control, more middlemen. This isn't hype, it's just where things are going, and getting started today is easier than you think. That's where Rumble Wallet comes in. With Rumble Wallet, you can buy Bitcoin, hold dollar-backed stablecoins, even own digital gold backed by real gold all in one place. The setup is simple. It connects with MoonPay so that you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in minutes. It's not about the amount, it's about getting in early and understanding what's coming next. And once you're set up, you can even tip your favorite Rumble creators like us directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, buy, tap buy, and you're in the game. Take control of your money. Get started with Rumble Wallet today.
I like Rumble Wallet.
Do you? Yeah. No, I did it. It was not hard to do at all.
Hmm.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We are going to be back with the Q&A segment of Deprogram at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's in just over an hour. Please like, follow, and share the show. Thank you for your generous support. And we look forward to seeing you then. Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Ciao.